Hello. I'm so glad that you've joined us today on Truth and Wellness. I'm Gail McKenzie and I'm your host. Today our special guest is Lisbeth Melgar. She is originally from El Salvador and she's here to share with us her story of how God has led her and how He's working in her life today. So Lisbeth, I understand that you came from a large family.
Yes.
And as I've said, you were originally from El Salvador. Share with our viewers a little bit about how you grew up.
I am from El Salvador. I've been here for 10 years in the U.S. I grew up in a very small village, a remote area in El Salvador. I have 6 brothers and 1 sister.
Oh my.
And I am one of the oldest ones in the family. Yes, we grew up in a place where we did not have electricity until I was 15 years old.
Really?
And we didn't have transportation. We had to probably walk an hour in order to get the first bus that take us to the city. It was definitely a very difficult childhood with sometimes no food to eat, and also helping my mother to take care of my siblings, my youngest ones.
Yeah. So your life was quite a bit different than most children that would grow up here in the United States.
It was very different. I grew up with my parents having, to work all day long in order to get us something to eat during the day, and I grew up basically raising my brothers and sister that were younger than I was.
Right.
But it's just a different experience that I went through in my life that if I compare it now is a blessing where I am at.
Sure, sure. Well, it appears, that you experience poverty that most of us here in the United States don't have to experience or have not.
After a while, my mother got a little grocery store, that we could supply the neighbors with that, and also could help us economically. But my point here is that it's not necessarily that I was poor little girl, but the thing is that I had so many dreams in my life that I wanted to fulfill and accomplish, even though I grew up in a neighbor that didn't have anything.
Right.
But I knew that there was something there, and I knew that I had to get out, and there's where my experience began.
Ah, so you had a dream in your heart.
Yes.
And you knew God had placed it there.
Yes.
So you had this little business. Your father, though, he was into music, right?
Yes.
Share with our viewers how you helped in that also, and how you grew to love music. It became a very big part of your life.
Absolutely.
Wasn't it?
When I was very young, my dad loved music. He plays guitar all the time. He sang all the time. And before he became a Christian, he used to sing in the parties, like birthday parties or any kind of celebration. He was the main singer. Obviously did not help much economically because, it's very little that can do for a musician in my country. And I grew up with that influences of music. So my dream was someday get out of this village and do something with music. Then my parents became Christians, and after that we started singing in church. I was probably 9 years old when I started performing in my church. But someday I was planning to get out of that village and somehow and go and perform in other places with other church members or something like that.
Right, right. Now, when you came into the church, you were baptized, is that right?
Yes, at 9 years old.
At 9 years old, okay. 9 years old, you were baptized. And so you gave your heart to Christ, and you had this dream to sing. But there was something that happened that kind of took your life a little bit of a turn. And share with our viewers what that was.
When I was 12 years old, my family and I went for a baptism in the city. The church rented a pickup truck, and all the church gathered and went to the city for that big event that the church was going to have nationally, and some of the people in our church were going to get baptized. So we went there. On our way back for the baptism, this truck lost control and just basically throw us out in the road at 45 to 50 miles per hour.
Okay, and what happened?
Well, the pastor who was behind riding his motorcycle, he saw the whole thing happening. And the first thought that came to him is they all will die, because he saw us flying, you know, through the pavement. And the only thing I remember is that I was, you know, just on the floor. I got up, I see a lot of people and blood everywhere, and people crying, and it was a very confusing moment. Right. Then the first thing I thought about was looking for my dad and my sister. My little sister was there also.
Oh boy. How old was she then at the time?
She was 7 years old.
7 years old.
Yeah.
And you were how old?
I was 12.
12. So you were young.
I was also young, So I remember everybody crying, and I remember screaming, looking at my dad and my sister, and I found them. They looked fine. Okay. My sister was only in panic, and I was calm. Yes. I only felt kind of like hot in my body. Something was running hot in my body, and I just wasn't sure what it was, but I did not notice anything. So the last thing I remember is somebody put us in the pickup, in another pickup, to take us to the hospital. When I got there in the hospital, I remember they having some x-rays, and I saw myself in a mirror. And I saw my face was full of blood, and I see like all my arm, my legs, everything was completely like, you know, full of blood. And then it's when I figured out that my arm had been hurt really bad.
Okay, so now we're looking at, it looks like a burn.
Yes, it looks like a burn, but it was just basically a, you know, like a pavement. It was so hot. So it just got all my skin to this part.
I see.
And I have my arms, my fingers, my leg, and some part of my face, but as I grew up, it got, you know, erased.
Because you were so young.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
I ended up in the hospital for a month. At the beginning, what they did is in the hospital, they just gave us some tetanus shot and sent us home. My parents had no money to put me in a private clinic or a hospital where they will take care of me better. So I was for a week or two in my house with somebody coming in, like, you know, cleaning my wounds and all of that. But after 2 weeks, I started getting a very high fevers, and I remember like I just lost conscious. I didn't know what was going on. They took me immediately to a nearby hospital that was already opened because that was during the vacation time that we had this accident, and there were not doctors available. That's why they sent us home to begin with.
There was nobody there to treat you then?
It was during Eastern time.
Oh, okay.
They took me to the hospital, and the doctor told my mom, if you did not bring her 6 hours, if you bring her 6 hours later, this little girl will be dead, because my wounds were getting infected.
I bet, weren't they? Yes. Wow.
So I ended up in the hospital for a year. I'm sorry, a month, not a year, a month. I believe I am a miracle. I was one of the ones that got worse, hurt in that accident. And God had a plan for me. He saved my life right there. I could have died. I could have got a very bad infection. I could have died in the accident right there, but God had a plan for me that I did not understand at that moment until later on.
Where did God take you from there?
See, my parents had not money to help me to go to school like a high school. I probably will have to go one nearby for 2 hours and walk for an hour, and then take a bus and then come back. So it was almost impossible. So after I finished elementary school, I told my mom and my dad, I said, I am going to study in a Christian Adventist school. They kind of laugh at me because say like, what money? I mean, you know, they can be a little pricey if they're private schools. Then I said, I don't know. I'm just going to go. And then I contacted somebody for colporting. You know, colporting is when you go and
Yes, explain
books.
that
Yeah,
for our viewers.
It's a program that our church has, usually for young people that want to go to school and pay their own tuition. They go and sell books about health.
So you go door to door, right?
And you go knock at the door. You go everywhere as possible to promote these books about health and ministry. And God will bless you, and you go. You know, it's based on faith. You know, so I was 14 years old, finished elementary school, and I had to tell my mother. I said, "Mom, I'm sorry. I will have to go. I know that I am the one that helps you the more in the house because I am the older." And my mom obviously did not agree. I think she was more scared that I was leaving her than, you know, not wanting me to go at all. But I said, I'm leaving, Mom. It was really sad because I was 14 years old. I had my the youngest brother born a day before I left my house. So I packed up my bags against my mom's and my dad's will. I put the only belongings I had. I carried my bag in my head in the morning, around 4 a.m. in the morning, by myself to go to the bus station, and I left.
And you have no money.
I had no money.
Don't know
I probably
how you're
had, at the time, you call it 10 pesos, which is like $1. At the time.
$1 in your pocket.
Yes.
And you are going to take off. You're going to go to school.
Against my mother and my parents' will.
Against your parents' will. And you have a brother who's just born, so you won't know him.
Exactly. Wow. At that moment,
I wasn't doing anything to antagonize my parents.
Right.
I just had a dream in my life that this little girl had to get out of this place, because some of the, you know, my friends and other girls that I grew up with were already getting pregnant and not having anything in their future.
Right.
And I did not want to be at that, have that experience. I wanted to do something in my life and prove myself that I could do something, doesn't matter where I am from or who I am.
Right.
So God put that in desire in my heart. I was
Right.
not going to do something bad. I was just going to sell books to study.
Well, you are a very determined young woman.
Yeah.
I can tell that right
Yes,
now
I was.
from that. So you took off. You started selling books on faith that God was going to provide for you to go to this school.
Yes.
And so tell us how God did that.
I met a very wonderful family, a Christian Adventist family in the city. I traveled like almost 12 hours from bus to bus to that city.
Wow.
Then I went to live in this family house, very Christian family, and she was a colporter, and her daughter was colporting to go to college, and I was going to do it to go to high school.
Okay.
So she helped us, she trained us, and then there we go, the two little girls, and I started knocking at doors and places. People usually bought my books because they felt bad about me. They said, like, poor little girl selling books, you know, at this
Here
age.
she is.
Yeah,
Just a
I
young
was
little-
very little, and skinny, very dark skin, and they felt bad about me. So I got I think it's a quarter of a scholarship to go to the Adventist Academy
Okay.
and back in my country at the
So
time.
a fourth, you had enough to pay a fourth of your bill.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, correct. And then while I was in the academy, I started working, like having 2 jobs at the time, doing whatever it was necessary, cleaning bathrooms and whatever I had to do to keep, you know, paying my scholarship. My parents
Right.
couldn't even go to visit me because it was far away from the village, and they had, you know, to take care of my older brothers. So my mom only went to visit me only when I graduated. That was the only time I got my parents to visit me. And
So were you able to go home, or?
Yes, I
Okay.
went home probably every 6 months,
Okay.
and that happened for 3 years
Okay.
until I graduated.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So now you've graduated. You still have this dream.
Yes.
What next? What you're headed down a road and you're not going to turn back.
Yes,
So
of course.
Where does God take you?
When
next?
I was in high school, is where I start singing more. I had the passion that I wanted to sing, you know, and I was very and somehow very naive. I would say I grew up in a very, you know, like in a very simple lifestyle. The school had a lot of other kids, different kids from different places, and I was so excited about singing, and I just asked them to let me sing in the academy. I wasn't trained by then. I didn't have like a training vocal lessons yet. And I remember I just went to the stage and sang, and anytime I did, my classmates kind of make fun of me. I remember walking, going to the pulpit of the stage, and I remember whispers and laughings here and there. I probably was a little loud when I sang. I don't know what happened, but anytime I finished singing, I ended up crying, going to the room and cry about it, because I did not understand. But at the same time, that kind of gave me courage to do something, to train, and to, you know, get it. I pray to God and I say, Lord, I don't know why I want to sing and I want to praise you, but it's really hard when people are laughing at me when I'm doing it. So you gotta help me and, you know, find a way for me to train, because probably was lack of, I had the desire to do it. I was told many times that I did not have a good voice to sing, and it really hurt me. So
oh my, listen, I've heard you sing, so I cannot believe that hardly.
Thank you.
Wow.
I think it's God really helped me develop that. And when I graduated high school, I promised, I was standing there and I said, someday I'll be back and sing again, and they will like it. Sure enough, I went to, I got invited for a group to sing in a group in a quartet. They knew I had the talent. It just needs to be trained. And then I got
more experience.
Exactly,
that's what you needed.
exactly, more experience. So yes, I joined the quartet, and then later on we went back to the same high school to sing. And things were way different at that moment.
So you got to go back,
yes,
and show them that you did have a voice. That's
but
great.
Something
That's
special
great.
happened during that day. When I was invited to sing, there was somebody from here, from United States. His name is Garwin McNeilis.
Okay.
He was building orphanages and also schools, buildings in the college, in the high school area.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
I wanted to go to study to an Adventist school, college. I just finished my high school, but then I had no way to go to an Adventist school. I got invited to sing that day he was there. They were having a graduation for elementary school at that moment. I was invited to sing, and after I finished singing and the program finished, I just walked, you know, through the door outside, just get out of the building, and McNeilis was sitting standing right in front, next to the door, and he stopped me. And obviously I did not speak English. Somebody came and translated for me. He said, your song touched my heart. He told me the first thing. I said, I did not know what you were saying, but it touched my heart. And I want to know more about you. And then, so I said, sure, my name is, you know, Lisbeth, and I am from El Salvador. And he said, are you going to school? And I said, well, I want to go to an Adventist school, which is Costa Rica. It's the only Adventist school we have in Central America.
I see.
It's
a college.
A college, yes.
Yes, for college.
I said I wanted to go, but I obviously don't have the money. And you know what is coming. He said, don't worry, I'll pay your school. And
really?
Then, yes, it just happened right there. He said, I was touched by your song, and I don't know why, but I want to help you.
Wow.
Then I got so happy about it.
I was going to say, what did you say?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't show it at that moment because I didn't want to look awkward, you know. But then I had to go back home anyway. I have to travel like 6-7 hours, and I had to go that same day that he told me the story. But I thought everything was settled, so I can go home and everything was okay. And when I go to the school, everything will be paid, right? But then apparently they were looking for me the whole night because he wants to talk more about, you know, what the plan was. So at the end of the day, he decided not to help me during that year. I wasn't afraid. I said, Lord, I still want to go to Adventist school. I am going to Colport when I get there. And I left with $20 in my pocket. And I bought the ticket to go to Costa Rica and $20 in my pocket. I had a drive to do something in my life. I wanted to study. I respect Christian education so very much. And I had a dream of going to a Christian school. So
That's amazing.
I decided to just go. I remember going in this bus for 2 days, and I met a bunch of other students that were going to the same school, and I could see all of them like having good clothes and everything, and I was just thinking in my heart, Lord, they don't know that I only have $20 because, you know, in my pocket. How I'm going to you know, pay my tuition when I get there. Anyway, I got there, and I told the people, hey, I am going to work. If I have to work for three jobs while I'm studying, I don't care, but please let me study. Please. I basically begged them. I think they felt bad about me again. So I got this chance to go and to study. It was not an easy year for me. I had to work a lot, you know, 2 jobs, and I did not perform as well in my, you know, grades because of stress. I had a big debt like that I had to pay. By the end of that year, I received a letter from somebody that I knew in the same high school that heard about my story and how McNeilus decided not to help me at that time. So he said, look, he's coming. Why don't you go back to high school when he's there? When you know, leave from vacation, go back and talk to him. Then I went there, and I decided to go. I said, okay, I'll do, but I'm afraid now. He probably will say no again. Or probably. But when I got there, I remember I was very tired because, you know, it was very hot during the day. I was so tired. I had to walk like 20 minutes from the bus to the school, high school. My, you know, high school at that time. And there he was again there, and he saw me. He spot me right there. He said, Lisbeth. And I said, like, you remember me?
He knew your name.
He knew my name. He remembered after a year. And then he come here. I want to talk to you. Let me bring you the director at that time from Maranatha. There is another organization that our church has that goes build churches and colleges and help people in other parts of the world. And he said, I'll give him all the information that you need, that he needs, and so I can help you to go to school next year.
So the man from Maranatha, then.
Yes.
You're introduced to him.
Yes.
And that's another connection.
Another connection.
That works later in your life, something that you're doing now. And but here he is, and they're going to help you.
Correct.
He make it through school.
This man from Maranatha, he is the one who started Maranatha, Garwin McNeilus. When I went back to the university, I found out that there were $3,000 in my account. He had paid my whole year of school at that time.
And you didn't have to work 3 jobs then, did you?
It was much easier. It was definitely a miracle. God had a plan for me.
Now, what did you take in school? What was your major?
Yes, I have a bachelor in education. I am a teacher.
You are a teacher, okay. Now let's fast forward a little bit. And so you get your degree at college.
Yes.
And then what happens? What brings you here? How did you get here?
Yeah, while I was finishing college, there was a missionary that went from here to Costa Rica. He went to as a volunteer to teach English in university, and we met. And now I'm married to him. He's American. He's from Michigan.
His name is Derek, I believe. Yes, Derek.
We have a little daughter now. She's 17 months.
Beautiful little daughter.
Thank you.
Wow.
She's just our life.
Wow.
The thing is that God has had a plan for me.
Yes.
I had a lot of difficulties to go to school. I had, you know, to get out of that village and be able to finish school the way I did. It was a miracle in my life. God put the right people at the right time. He never abandoned me, never. So I met my husband. I never thought about coming to this country. That's why I got an education in Costa Rica, because I want to be I want to work in there. I want to do something. I did not want to move here as many people want to move to this country. I did not have the plan. Then I decided that when I came here, I started learning English because I did not speak English at that time. I started singing more. God opened more doors for me. Now I have an independent ministry of music, and I travel everywhere I go to sing. And besides that, as soon as I started learning English, speaking English, I was invited to join Maranatha with
Maranatha,
Michigan, Michigan, Detroit group. So we do have a group in Detroit that travels, and I have been in more than 6 mission trips. And
6 mission trips.
6 mission trips
around the world.
Around the world, building churches, bringing medical attention, vacation Bible schools, and we have helped so many people when we go there. But it's very interesting how God led me there.
Yes,
I came from the same place where, you know, those people that I meet in every country are.
Right.
I had that experience. I know what it means to have needs in your life and not being fulfilled.
Right.
So for me, just the fact of going and being an interpreter and being able to understand these people and help in whatever I can is a way to pay back what somebody did for me.
Right. You are doing a good work, and that God took this little girl in El Salvador and put a dream in her heart.
Yes.
And brought her here to this place where you've been able now to go back and help those, like you said, who were like you.
Yes.
And you can be an encouragement to them.
Absolutely.
That God can give them a dream too.
Exactly.
And what a fabulous testimony. And Lisbeth, I just want to thank you today for sharing with us. And I know that for our viewers, it's been a real encouragement to them. And we want our viewers to know that maybe they may be encouraged to get involved with Maranatha or some mission group and to go outside of the boundaries of this country to help others that are out there. So
correct. And the last thing I would like to say is, doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, but if you really give God your dreams, He's going to perform great things in your life. And you're going to be a great help for somebody else too.
Okay.
So.
Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us today on Truth and Wellness. And please watch again for more stories of faith and truth.